We have taken a quick weekend trip to New Orleans, and we're gonna see what all we can do in the city in 24 hours. So we have a few goals for today. Number one, we're going to explore the historic French Quarter.
Number two, we want to walk through a cemetery.
Number three, we're going to eat some delicious traditional New Orleans food.
We also want to ride the trolley and go to the Garden District. I think we also said we wanted to see some live music.
Oh yeah, see some live music.
So what brought us here for the weekend? We have always talked about coming to visit New Orleans, but never have gotten a chance. And I had a 3-day weekend. I was on Google Flights, and on Google Flights it said round trip $55. And I was like, I've never flown that cheap. What's the catch? And it was Spirit Airlines.
Dun dun dun.
And the wheels did not fall off. It wasn't a Boeing, so we know that the door didn't fly out.
No, it was fine. It was fine.
For the hour-and-a-half flight that it was fine. It's very uncomfortable.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be on that airline for more than an hour and a half. The seats were basically like a piece of leather on plastic, so.
With no cushion,
yeah.
Kind of like a bucket seat too. And then there's no way to recline your seats. There's no pockets anywhere.
No food, obviously. Well, no free food, at least.
I would also say that the seat wasn't as deep too.
Mm-hmm.
So anyone that has a
big butt
wouldn't be able to fit in there. Join us today as we walk around New Orleans and discover what we can in this 24 hours. So along the riverfront is a ton of different carriages and artists and whatnot. The world famous Café du Monde, which is where you get beignets, is right on the riverfront. But it's not the only place that you can get beignets, and it's actually not the only Café du Monde. But look at this line. It stretches all the way. And God knows how long these people are going to be waiting for a beignet.
So walking around Jackson Square, there's a ton of artists like outside of the fence and stuff. And I've noticed the art is pretty expensive. I mean, we've seen street art in a lot of different places around the world. And I think the minimum price I've seen here is $35 to $40 for like a small painting, which, I mean, good on the artists, you know, I want to support the artists, but it's just a little different from the street art that I've seen elsewhere.
I've been hoping for you, you're my Sunday. Can move slowly, take it.
So we just popped into the cathedral here in Jackson Square, and I will say, if you need a break from the heat, the AC was blasting in there. It's free to enter, and if there's not a mass going on, you can take pictures and videos inside. So we're here in April, so it's not too hot, but it is a little warm and muggy. But I can imagine in the summer that the cathedral is a good place to go to get some AC for a little while.
So my initial thoughts on comparing New Orleans Square from Disneyland to the real thing here in New Orleans, they have some similarities, but I think that everything here in the real New Orleans is a lot taller. And obviously Disneyland smells better, as I predicted, but you have a bunch of that iron balconies and everything in different colors. So it's been cool to compare what Disneyland interpreted versus the real thing. Another observation is that there aren't a lot of street signs labeling what street you're on in New Orleans, both in this historic district and in the downtown area where we're staying. So you can easily start walking in the wrong direction because there aren't street signs.
Look, it's the Cornstalk Fence Hotel, and the fence is cornstalks. Hey Brian, I found the street signs. They're on the ground. We were looking up. We should have been looking down. At least in the French Quarter.
Oh my God.
So we've been walking down Royal Street and we just turned on Ursulines. This area is really quaint and quiet, and I would say definitely don't stay by Bourbon Street because it's so loud. But I think this would be a nice area to stay because it's very like quiet, peaceful. There's not really bars and stuff around here. There's just little shops and there's inns, and yeah, it's a nice little area to walk around.
We've made it all the way to Esplanade Road, and this road is really a pretty significant road in New Orleans because this used to be one of the trading roads for Native Americans, so this road has a lot of history. And it's old. It's one of the oldest roads in New Orleans.
Yeah, from my understanding, they kind of built the city around the roads and the routes that the Native Americans were already using. So yeah, this is one of those.
Now, we have opted to use public transportation, so we're gonna use the buses, we're gonna use the trolley, and I believe, what is the pass called? The like Jazzy Pass?
Yeah, I think it's called Jazzy.
So the Jazzy Pass is unlimited for a day for only $3. So where else can you get public transportation for that cheap?
And it includes the trolley, the buses. It's just those two things, right?
There's another thing, but I think it said
find out.
ferry. I think it said ferry too.
Oh, the
Yeah,
fair.
there's
Oh,
ferries.
okay. So people, when we were doing research for this trip, have commented on like how the city smells because so many people drink and pee and whatever. But right now it smells great because all these flowers are in bloom. So everywhere we go, it smells like jasmine and roses, and it's been really nice actually. We are now at St. Louis Cemetery number 3. This cemetery is free to enter, and as far as we can tell, we're allowed to film here. I know some of the cemeteries have very clear rules about filming.
We took the 91 bus line to get up here, and this is supposed to be one of the largest cemeteries in New Orleans. I would say, like, based on like movies and television and whatnot that I'm like used to, I was expecting things to be more compact, but this one has actual roads in it, which makes sense because they have to drive to bring the caskets down here. So that's something that I didn't expect, but there's a lot of marble everywhere, and it could be haunted. But who knows?
Any graveyard could be haunted.
So let's see what we can explore. Aubrey said that she wondered what or why the building is missing here. Wonder what happened. Look at this one. This is true Halloween Horror Nights right there. Could just jump out at you. Now we're walking in the bottom section where the entrance of this cemetery number 3 is, and it gets more close together and not with the big giant aisles that we saw. And as we're walking through the crypts, yes, the tombs, the crypts, that's when I felt like something was watching. I don't know why, but it felt like somebody's here.
I said this tombstone, at least at the top, is in French. And it's saying that this person died at 35, or the spouse of E.H. Roquet. I don't know. Deceased January 22nd, I think 1875, at 35 years old. He was born in Indiana, and he died at 53. Oh, this says Mary A. Duffy, beloved wife of Emile Grappin, died April 1899, aged 16 years. She was a wife and she died at 16 years old.
And did she get married?
It doesn't say, it just says beloved wife.
As we leave the cemetery, we get to the entrance of City Park, which is their version of Central Park. Actually, when you are walking over to get to City Park, there's this bridge, and it crosses over this body of water, which apparently is a bayou. Now, my question to you, you can put it in the comments below, is what is a bayou? Like, what makes this body of water a bayou? Why is it like a river? What's so different? Do you know?
Yeah, let us know what you think, and we'll let you know at the end of the video what a bayou is. Also, there's ducklings now.
There's ducks.
There's little baby ducklings. Where's their mama?
Hopefully the gator didn't get them.
So cute. Remember when that duckling attacked you at Disney?
That's horrible. So when I said that I felt like somebody was watching me, that wasn't like me being playful or anything like that. Had a couple of instances where I had paranormal activity. And like a lot of times people will say things are haunted, and then you go and check them out and then there's nothing there and you're like, well, I didn't feel anything. But then sometimes you may see something or feel something. The best way I can describe that is Aubrey and I on our engagement trip were down in the Paris catacombs. My sister was actually there too, and we somehow got separated in the different rooms or the paths and whatnot. And so I was completely alone for about 2 minutes, and it felt like somebody grabbed my hand. And when I looked behind me, nothing was there. Things got cold, and I was like, I gotta find Aubrey. And then when we got to the end of our experience at the catacombs and the three of us were climbing up, I was telling my sister about this, and she's like, wait, you felt that too? And she described exactly what I had happened to me, but she had that happen to her too. And we were both alone. It's that like eerie feeling that, like I said, that somebody's watching. Maybe I'm That's So Raven.
I, on the other hand, do not have these experiences, nor do I want to. I will live in happy, blissful ignorance of all the ghosts and paranormal activity around me.
I will also say that being here in New Orleans, I have not felt that feeling of that like haunted watching feeling until then. Whereas in a city like Savannah, Georgia, I felt it all over the place. And then you go to a place like Key West and it's not really there at all.
So many turtles here.
What you doing over here?
Looking at the turtles. I like turtles. Oh, that one's got a lot of algae on its shell.
Now remember at the beginning of the video when I said that there was another place to get beignets? Now if you go to City Park, you can actually go to Cafe du Monde. It is the exact same beignets, but less lines. So let's go over there.
Just chucking them in there. Now, Brian committed the cardinal sin when eating beignets. He is wearing a black shirt. How much powdered sugar is he gonna get on his shirt? We will find out. So I have prepared my area. I'm ready for the powdered sugar onslaught. It's time for the first bite. That was good. They're actually pretty dense. I've had these before, but it was like 15 years ago. But these are really good.
I have left some carnage on this tray. And there's powder sugar everywhere. We got some napkins to show the carnage. Did I get it on my clothes? That is the question.
Miraculously, no.
That's a first.
It really
That is a first.
It's usually your MO.
I'm a pretty messy eater, but I think it's because I'm a dude. So whatever.
But yeah, all clean. Here's my little area. I prepped it with napkins, and I'm enjoying some chicory coffee.
Now it's getting a little late. It's about 3 in the afternoon, and although we want to ride the streetcar to get back to town, it was saying that it was going to take like 40 minutes to get where we need to go, and we want to make sure that in this 24 hours that we hit everything that we wanted to do. So Uber it is.
We just got out of our Uber and we have now arrived in the Garden District, and it was really fun driving through and seeing the quaint neighborhoods and some of the nice houses. So I'm looking forward to walking around here more, but right now it is almost 4 o'clock and we had breakfast at the hotel this morning and we've had our beignets, but we need to get a proper meal. So we are gonna go find some lunch. I got some shrimp and sausage gumbo, and I got a half shrimp po' boy and some extra bread for my gumbo. And then Brian they have a combo on the weekends that is a special, and it's half of a po' boy. So he got a shrimp po' boy and some red beans and rice and some jambalaya. So we're gonna dig in and enjoy this food. Jasmine on that telephone pole. Oh, it smells good. Walking around the Garden District here, we stumbled upon this house. It's called the George Washington Cable House. It was built in 1874 for George Washington Cable, who was an author. Some of his books include Old Creole Days and Strange True Stories of Louisiana. It says that here he entertained people such as Mark Twain and Oscar Wilde. So that's a pretty cool thing to stumble upon out here.
Now I do want to comment on this. Now in New Orleans, there's a ton of these old oak trees. And you may wonder why the sidewalks and the roads are uneven. It's because the oak tree roots are so strong and thick that they will bust the roads and the sidewalks. Look at this.
I find it interesting walking around here. I've seen several people with sculptures in their yards. And we walked through the sculpture garden at City Park, and we saw a sculpture that was similar to this, and I just spotted this in this person's yard. I'm wondering if it's the same artist. And you're not allowed to film in the sculpture garden. So we weren't able to get footage of anything in there, but I love these horses that are made out of wood. Just think those are so cool. Wow, this house has a lot of sculptures in it.
Did I just find the Haunted Mansion in real life? It almost looks identical to Disneyland. Now, in the Garden District, there is a cemetery. This is Lafayette number 1, and it is currently closed for refurbishment. So I'm peeking through the gate. You can see how different this cemetery is compared to the other one that we went to. And actually, something strange just happened with the gimbal. I had it on PF, which means that it's focusing on an object in front of me. And it kept going to the left, which means that it saw something in the frame and wanted to follow it. Spooky.
Oh, there's a bird. I think it was just trying to look at the sign or something. I don't know though.
You can see over the wall, the barrier wall, tops of some of the tombs. Some more of those trees, the oak trees, ripping up the sidewalk. You can see where the sidewalk broke apart right here. And there's that route.
You can also see where it is like tracking the sidewalk as the root has grown.
It's crazy. So apparently, this cemetery has been closed since before COVID. And one of the main reasons that this cemetery has been closed is because the magnolia trees, their roots are starting to push up all of the graves, which is really, really interesting, especially considering the oak trees. And so the city hasn't paid to do it, and they haven't figured out a way to fix everything, so it's been closed since.
Also, I think that they were still kind of trying. There was a gentleman that lives here that stopped to kind of tell us about the cemetery, and he said that they wanted to start charging admission and posting a guard at the cemetery and all of that. When they were planning on doing that, the city said, oh, well, if that happens, because the city owns the cemetery, the money's just going to go back into a general city fund and not actually directly back to the cemetery. So at that point, the head of the cemetery quit and the gates were locked, and yeah, it's just, here it sits, empty. But the people are at rest in there, you know?
And a big difference between this one and the earlier one that we went to is this one's non-denominational, and the other one was a Catholic cemetery. So you had to be Catholic in order to be buried at the other one, which I find interesting.
When the Americans were first coming to this area, they weren't Catholic, whereas the Spanish were. And so the Americans, I guess, started this cemetery so that they had a place to be buried because they couldn't go into the Catholic cemeteries. So very interesting. Also, this house across from the cemetery was built by, I think, the person that built the cemetery, and it's the third oldest house in the Garden District. It's a cute little pink house here.
There's actually one of these houses for sale. Aubrey, we can find our dream house.
I thought we already owned our dream house.
I mean, compared to the Garden District, come on. Don't you want that house over there?
I'm trying to see if I can find out how much it is.
Quick, Somebody's gonna buy it. They're gonna outbid us.
Well, it's not on realtor.com. So...
Oh no, not sponsored.
No. Wait, let me see.
Well, the address is 2708. I don't know what road we're on.
Oh no,
because there's not street
are we
signs.
on? Wait, I can find out what road we're on. Oh, okay, let's see. It is on Realtor. What the heck? Oh. Guess how much it is?
2.5 million.
Wow. You weren't, it's 2.7. 2,750,000. Actually, that's a lot more than I thought it would be. I was thinking like $1 million. $2.7 million for this house.
That's how much I should get paid as a teacher, right?
It looks pretty inside though. It's like fully restored and everything.
Like I said, dream house.
It's definitely just going to be in our dreams. All right, so I was looking at the listing for this house and it makes a little more sense now because it's 6 bedrooms, 6.5 baths, 6,110 square feet. And the lot is 6,500 square feet. So that's how much house there is compared to lot. So that house must be deep. It's got to go back pretty far off the road.
This house is massive. Look at the ironwork and all of the balconies. It's beautiful.
So I'm reading the plaque here about this house, and it says that they spared no expense on all of the ornamentation. It is a center hall plan with an elegant, unsupported circular staircase made of cypress and mahogany. We need to try and find a picture of that. That sounds gorgeous. And there are grand 15-foot ceiling heights on both the first and second floors. And they have frescoes adorning the ceilings in the double parlor and dining room, painted by an Italian artist. The right side of the house features a double gallery ornamented with delicate lace-like cast iron and tassels, and an octagonal dining room. There's also a neoclassical carriage house and stable. Prominent families that have lived here include those of, see if I know any of these names. I don't. David McCann, Thomas Duke Jordan, Frank Sinclair. I don't know who those people are. They must have been rich. Or are rich, I don't know. You can see the side of the octagonal dining room over there. It's hard to see through the trees, but...
On purpose. They do it on purpose.
Oh, I'm sure. It's almost like someone actually lives there.
What? People live in houses?
I was trying to figure out, like, why are these houses so big? Like, who lived here? And I haven't discovered that yet. Although the garden district, the whole garden district used to be a plantation that then got subdivided. So all of this area was somebody's plantation.
I think also it was its own separate city and it wasn't part of New Orleans until 1800s or something like that.
Yeah, it was incorporated, I think, in 1892, it said.
You have to remember that New Orleans is the second oldest city in the United States.
What's the first oldest?
St. Augustine.
Oh, yeah. We need to take you guys there sometime. Look at this street sign. Somebody was partying hard with the beads. They should do this to all of them. It's cute.
It's definitely eco-friendly.
Wow. Pink house with green shutters.
Look, they got beads on their chandelier.
Oh my gosh, they do.
Wow.
I bet they decorated the
It was them. They did it.
Oh my gosh. I can't even explain to you how fragrant all of this jasmine is. It smells so good. Come in April. All you'll smell is jasmine.
Not all, but at least in this area. Look at this one. It's being restored right now.
Our Uber driver was saying that you aren't allowed to change the exteriors of the homes here because they're, I guess, protected. If anyone wants to build a new home here, they have to do it in a similar architectural style. They've gotten a little more lax about it recently, but here's an example of them, I guess, restoring a home back to its former glory. Okay, I'm being a real estate nerd again. This house was last sold in 2013 for $2.3 million. And now it's $3.7 million. 3,737,868 to be exact. 8,000 square feet. But only 5 beds and 4 baths compared to the other one. I wonder what rooms are so big. It's gorgeous though.
It's definitely the toilet. The toilet room is the largest.
Hey, you could be right.
Aubrey, you said you wanted this house, right?
I did. It's not for sale. Well, the other one wasn't either, but the zestimate for this one is 3.4 million. So
bargain.
But it says that it's 9,550 square feet. My gosh. I just love this front sunroom area. That's why I like this house. And the like peachy, it looks pink, but now that I'm looking at it, it looks more of like a peachy color. This tree is thick.
Damn, boy. She thick.
It's the thickest tree I ever saw. Actually, no, that's a lie. I think the redwoods are the thickest trees I've ever seen. I wonder if that's a hotel.
Maybe a bed and breakfast, but it definitely has some French.
Oh yeah, like the top of it.
French inspiration.
New Orleans is such an interesting mix of Spanish, French, and American colonial like influence. Yeah. So it's really unique. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen anything like this in the world. Are you ready to ride the trolley, dear?
I guess so.
Let's go.
I don't know if you could see it in the shot right here, but there's beads in this tree. It's like Mardi Gras all the time. Or like that bead tree at Universal. Yeah, there's beads over here too. In that tree. Who knew that Universal was similar? Or who knew that like Universal or the things that people were doing at Universal is authentic to the real thing?
Trolley at Canal Street, and we're about to head down Bourbon Street, and you can already feel that the vibe is very different from this morning. I think the party has started, and we're just gonna take a stroll, see what's going on down there, see how crazy it is, and we'll show you too. Hold on, let me take my earplugs out. Oh, okay.
So is that your vibe, Aubrey?
No. I will say, we did get here last night and we walked around at, between 8 and midnight, basically. And it was probably at least twice as crazy, at least. So it's still kind of mild over there right now, but that's just a little taste of Bourbon Street at night here in New Orleans. Yeah, not really my vibe, but interesting to people watch, I guess.
The sun is starting to set. You can see all these old historic houses. Super colorful. I can imagine hundreds of years ago, people or musicians playing down these streets, either playing Dixie or jazz. Right. The rise of jazz. Really, it's really neat. Look at this balcony right here. Is that safe? I guess there's no people on it, but...
It's a little topsy-turvy.
I'm so done glad he let me try it again. But last time I let the whole world let sin. I know more now than then.
All right. So, thank you for joining us on our day in New Orleans. There's obviously a lot that the city has to offer, and we just saw a small portion of it, but I had a good time today. Did you enjoy our day?
I did, and we got to do a lot of things. Even though we started our day a little bit later, we got to walk around the historic areas, which included the Garden District. We got to experience public transportation, which also included the trolley. We got to see some of the cemeteries, which maybe we made some friends along the way. Who knows?
Hopefully we don't have any hitchhiking ghosts.
We had some good food, saw some live music. I think that was a good day. And I didn't get powdered sugar on my black shirts, which you should be really proud of me.
I really enjoyed the Garden District. I think if you're coming here and you're looking for a more quiet, quaint area, definitely head over in that area, just wander around, look at the houses. It was so peaceful and beautiful over there, and there was just basically nobody around. We were just walking around looking at all the houses, and it was really nice and quiet, so definitely recommend that.
If you liked what you saw and you want to see more, don't forget to click that subscribe button, that bell notification, and we hope to see you on the next one.
We have more 24-hour videos coming, so stay tuned.